G'day folks, and welcome to Gormo Shed. Well, this week we're doing another kit bash, but the level of difficulty has increased considerably to the point where we're actually modifying the kit considerably. The last kit bash was mostly cosmetic, just painting it to make it look different and adding some roof tiles, etc. However, this one's a significant change to the original kit, and this one is based on a Metcalfe footbridge kit, and as you can see, it has had the brick that normally supports the stairs removed and replaced with these steel stands which came off originally an Airfix kit, and they were cut out of that original kit and fitted into this one. There are also supports under the central part of the staircase there, and we've added extra steps onto the stairs at the bottom to gain some height to get the staircases to sit at the correct angle. And there's corrugated roofing added to the building as well, instead of the printed roofing that came with the kit. So it's been changed quite a bit to suit what I want. And I did a considerable amount of research on the internet looking at Great Western Railway footbridges all over the UK, and just about every single one of them is different to any of the others. So it's pretty much an open book, and you can do pretty much what you like, and or even have an idea of what you want and just go for it if you've got the bits and pieces to do it. The left-hand steps here are sticking up a little bit, and that just is because the footbridge is not fitted permanently in position yet, because I keep changing my mind about where I want the blessed thing to go. But that's the reason for that, and that will sit down properly once it's all fixed permanently in place. And part of the exercise was to sort of add some people on the staircase, and you'll notice that there's a little man on the footbridge above going across, just to give it a bit more presence, make it seem more relevant. This is the actual purpose of the piece of structure in the first place, for people to pass from one platform to the other. Now, this is the basic kit that we started with, and you'll notice on the left hand side there the grey brick supports for the staircase. Well, we won't be using those in this kit, which immediately makes it totally different from the way it was intended to be built. And so the process firstly is to put the outer walls together for the staircase, and this is done strictly by the book as the kit suggests. So they come in two halves, and they have self-adhesive backings, and you've got to put the glazing in first and fit all that in, and I've clamped it there to make sure that it goes off properly and stays together. Now, the fundamental difference comes in here, folks. We've added some card here. These strips here have been added to give more relief to the building instead of just having a flat surface. So the way I've done that is I've just got myself a sheet of cereal box card, and I've painted it Great Western brown, and then cut out the strips to the various widths to suit the position they're going into on the building. And once I've cut a strip off, I then colour up the edges of it as well, so that it looks okay. So a dark brown on the edges as well, and then it's glued onto the kit as we go through the process of putting it together. Now, the Airfix bridge supports were cut out of a bridge that had been built to suit a 4-track mainline, actually. So it's not really much good as it was on my railway at the moment. So I thought, well, I'll borrow the supports from that particular kit. So I've cut it down drastically and shaved away at it here and there to get it to suit the purpose that I've got for it here. However, to gain the correct height, I've added some card here at the top, which will support the footbridge, but also give it the correct height to match up with everything. And so the stairs were put together pretty much as they were supposed to go together. They were plastic stairs from the kit, so no big change there so far. And then of course once you try them out against the Airfix stands, you'll notice on the left hand side that they don't quite sit flat at the bottom, so we have to add some additional steps to the bottom there to gain the correct height. So once you start fiddling around with kits in this way, folks, you've got to get the scalpel out and make a few adjustments here and there as you go along, because things probably won't match up as they would have with the original kit. It would have just gone together, bang bang bang, and that's it, job done. So here we are making the centerpiece for the bridge, and you can see that the relief strips have been added on there, but there's still a few more to go on. And then we're at the stage where we can mock it up a bit on the platforms, and just the important thing to check here is that the height is correct to put locos underneath it. You know, the worst thing you could do is have it too low and the chimney off a steamer is catching on it. So we had to do some testing here just to make sure we're on the right track, which we are. So it all looks a bit ordinary there, folks, and you'll notice that the kit supplies these little formers here to hold the parts together when you're doing assembly. So it's just a good way to get it together and fit it there on the platform just to make sure everything's okay. And this particular little pannier has a high chimney, so it's a good one to check it with. You need to check it with the tallest loco you've got to make sure everything's going to fit under there. Again, there's more testing just to make sure everything works, and you can see there we've still got a ways to go yet, but plenty of height there. And this better shows the relief, I suppose. It's I've noticed there's not a terrific join, but I mean we're in cruel close up here, so from a normal viewing distance it looks fine. And then we've sprayed the Airfix stands, the GWR brown. It looks a bit shiny there at the moment, but it's still drying off there. And this is all part of the colour process, where if you paint things all the same colour, they look as though they were intended to go together all the time. So it's just, this is just part of that process. It looks a bit rough around the top there, but I think that'll be hidden actually when it's put together. And now the important part here, the fundamental difference between this and the standard kit is that I went through making some corrugated roofing for the building, and I've done a demo on that in a previous video quite some time ago about how to make corrugated roofing. And in a nutshell, it's just the base of an aluminium baking tray, the disposable type that you can buy from the store, and cut out a sheet and put it on aluminium, what would you call it? It's an aluminium form, like a tread on a step or a stair or something like that, and you manipulate the foil with a tool to indent these corrugations into it. So they've been made in that very simple way, measured and cut, and they're super glued onto the surface of the roof. And then we've also fitted a ridge cap on there. Now that's the same aluminium foil tray stuff. A strip was cut out double width of the ridge cap, and then I scored it lightly along its length so I could get a nice crisp fold in it, and I've folded it over the edge of a straight edge. And at the end I've cut a little nick in the ends so that I can fold the ends over and under the roof, just to give a nice neat finish there. And of course that's super glued onto the top. That came up pretty well, I think, even if I do say so myself. And of course the ends of the roof are blackened up as well. Yeah, and that's a view from the top. So it just looks like a tin roof. And then we tested it out again just to make sure everything's going okay. And it looks fine on there. We've got to build the end pieces to go in there, which meet up with the stairs. The corrugations are probably a bit oversized, but when you use the 3-foot rule, folks, it looks okay. Plus, when you've painted it, I've done it this sort of charcoal, dark grey, black colour, which is a matte paint as well, and the corrugations are not quite as obvious as they were unpainted. So it's starting to blend and become the norm, I think, in this situation. So the roof is not actually fitted onto the building yet because we're still in the early stages of putting it together, and we've got to get a little bloke in there as well. But this is just trying it out, and now adding the relief pieces to the end sections, and starting to work on these stairs and get the correct height going there. And of course that's just a bit of extra card added to the bottom and painted grey to match the stairs. And the ends of the building here, folks, they were just bare card, so they've been coloured up with a felt pen, a brown felt pen. And you can see how it's starting to come together now. It's starting to look the part, and this is starting to look the way I wanted it to look. It always helps to take some close-up pictures of these things as you're going along, because quite often you'll come back and look at the picture and you'll think, oh no, look, I can see that there, or there's a mistake, or whatever. And it's quite helpful sometimes to be able to do that. For me, sometimes I sit there and look at it and I don't see what I see in the picture. So it's a bit weird. Maybe I'm just a little bit crazy, folks, you never know. Anyway, the roofs had to be done for the staircases as well. Now these were flat sections of card, and the centre section here, I made sure that that was fixed to the upper section here as one piece, and it's virtually folded. And then I got long sections of the corrugation and just bent them gently over a straight edge to get that angle there. So that's just one piece of corrugation there to form that, and I think it looks better than having a join across there, in my opinion anyway. And of course those roof sections have to be painted as well, but we're gradually getting there and seeing how it fits on the platform there. Always checking, folks, just making sure we haven't missed anything. And the height looks okay. There's a little bit of camera distortion on the left and right hand side there, so it may not look as level as it actually is. This is that bend I was telling you about here, just along here. And I forget exactly now how I measured that, but it was all done to a very exacting sort of standard there. I wanted to make sure it looked right. So it was meant very carefully to make sure that that happened precisely as I wanted it to happen. Again, I feel as though I've seen that picture before, but there we are. And the centre sections, again, I looked at a whole heap of pictures on the internet to work out what to do there. Now, this may look familiar when I tell you what it is. That's actually a bicycle spoke there, folks. This part here is the screw-on bit, and that's the actual spoke there, what will be the support. And this is off a different type of bicycle spoke, and that is actually super glued to the underneath of the staircase there. This is screwed into that, and this bottom piece here is also on a thread, but it was not glued in position so that I can actually adjust the height with it. So I've got a little bit of room to play with there, so I can fiddle around with those. But I thought, well, they look pretty much the part, so they'll do to go under there. Very handy little gizmos, those bicycle spokes. I use them as roof supports on my station building. That's what a better picture of what they're like. I think they look okay. You wouldn't know if I told you what they were, if I didn't tell you what they were. Now we're starting to get our people in there, so we're getting close to the final job here. Almost done. You can notice we've got a couple of ladies over this side. I've got a little bloke up the top there. There's actually another person just up here on this right hand side. There's my little mate going across the top, having a look out. And there's the ladies on the other side. So that's pretty much complete, folks, except for smoke deflectors going underneath here. They're just made out of card and obviously painted up to suit. They were done in a matte black because they'd be copying all the smoke and soot and everything, so they should be black. And they're just a fairly neat fit underneath there. So that's it, folks. So that's a more difficult conversion, but entirely possible. And I would encourage anyone, if they're thinking about a specialised footbridge, to consider this kit and see what you can do to change it to suit your own needs, or indeed just scratch build the whole blessed thing. But you might be able to use some bits and pieces from various other kits to help you in your endeavours. Anyway, that's all I have for you at the moment, so I'll see you next time. Cheers, Gormo.